Saudi Arabia? Did we do France? Did we ever do France? Hey, we never did France. Let's do France and then NSEEK. Okay, it's still early. I'm sorry. Let's do France. I'm getting a drink real quick. Let's do France. Fuck it. Everybody, let's take a little break. Let's go pee, drink something. Here's some music while you wait. 1 sec. And I see you guys in 3 minutes. Yay! Listen, if I want to see Sweden, I just watch the Saudi Arabia one, okay? Motherfucker. Hey, hey, ho. Stand by, everybody. Gotta clean my glasses. The left one, too. Je m'appelle Pierre, c'est une guerre. Oh, mon frère. Oh la 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 la. There he is. What's up? What's up? You like the G Fuel banner? Yeah, I have a contract, guys. So let's watch this and then really NSEEK. I want to actually try my new tactic in NSEEK. So here we go. I'm actually very interested in France. Can I make this a bit louder? Guys, I'm making it a bit louder for you guys.
TK.
What happened? Will this be on YouTube? I don't know. Probably on Marconi's channel. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bongo Lollipop. Thank you. Okay. Tier 3. Goddamn. Thank you. Okay,
Tiens-moi français. J'ai donc en quelque sorte une obligation de honorer mon héritage.
He's even French now? What the fuck? This guy has like a million fucking...
It's time to learn geography now! Hey everyone, I'm your host Barbie. France. Pretty much everybody on the planet has heard of this place. I mean, immediately images of wine, cafes, embellished 18th century Baroque architecture. People really hate globalization of the English language. But take a step back even further and France becomes a place with jaguars, coconuts, volcanoes, penguins, grass skirts, war dances, bamboo flutes, witch doctors, and a multifaceted history that has evolved into a people group into becoming one of the most notable nations on the planet. Alors, allons-y!
Allons-y, mon frère! Jacques Chirac!
The first thing you to know about France is that it's not just European, but a transcontinental country that spans across 12 time zones, more than any other country in the world. Mais comment est-ce que possible? Laissez-moi expliquer, gros garçon.
This guy speaks like 50 languages.
France is kind of divided into two main parts. The European Metropolitan France, where about 95% of the population lives, and the overseas French regions, departments, and territories, otherwise known as the Département et Territoire d'Outre-mer, or Dom-Tom. Before we tell you what they are, let's explain the difference between them. Regions have exactly the same legal status as mainland France and the same civil, penal code, and administrative social tax laws. However, they can be slightly
Fun fact, the
adapted to
longest
suit the
border of
region's
Brazil is with France is
the
Brazil.
autonomy rises, and they are empowered to make their own laws, except in certain areas like defense, currency, trade, and diplomacy. The overseas regions are Guadeloupe and Martinique in the Caribbean, French Guyana in South America, which, by the way, has the coolest
Why
space
did
center,
every... Cool space. Why did everybody... I don't know so much, okay? After World War II, everybody had to destroy their fucking overseas kingdoms. Like, the UK fell apart. Why is France allowed to keep so much?
Best in the world because it adds an extra gravitational slingshot.
But UK didn't do it.
Close to the equator of the Earth, and Reunion and Mayotte off the coast of East Africa.
Hey Tommy, I used to be a poor, skinny, frail loser, but after subbing, I've become the ultimate. Giga Chad, thank you.
You're welcome, Nefrex. Thank you for the sub, man. Because they're assimilationists. Britain could have, but they didn't want to. Every Twitch channel streaming the new DLC today is Turkish. What do you mean today? The DLC is not out. What are you talking about? Is it people that got the game for already? What are you talking about? Does everybody already have the game and Tommy's the only one again who doesn't have it? What do you mean? Dude, look at all these Turks. There's only Turks. What? This is a German guy. Why do you have the DLC? Everybody has that DLC, and I'm just sucking dick over here. What the fuck? Everybody playing Turkey. The real Turkey stream starts tomorrow when Tommy's around. What the fuck? Paradox hates my guts,
the overseas
yeah.
It's
whatever.
French Polynesia. You've probably heard of Tahiti. That's French Polynesia.
Tommy's a plap like
Wallis
us.
and Futuna in the Pacific. Saint Pierre and Miquelon right off the coast of Canada. Saint Barthélemy and Saint Martin, which is
Everybody's
the only
stealing my
place in
Turkish
France that has a
content,
border
man.
with the
My
Netherlands,
fucking
as the
balls
Dutch
today.
own the southern part of the island, located all in the Caribbean. The only islands that lie under the title of overseas territories are the French Southern and Antarctic Islands.
So that's no offense, but this is really stuff I don't care about.
Islands, the St. Paul and Amsterdam Islands. You can probably guess who used to own those. The Crozet Islands and Adelie Land, the claimed slice of Antarctica that is technically not recognized thanks to the Antarctic Treaty. And as of 2007, the scattered islands in the Indian Ocean, remember the Comoros episode, were added to make the 5th district of the territory, even though half of them are disputed with Comoros, Seychelles, and Mauritius. These islands are mostly uninhabited and only house temporary military or scientific personnel. Finally, France administers 2 special territories that don't quite fall into any of the previously mentioned categories. There's the uninhabited Clipperton Island off the coast of Mexico, which has a crazy murder story.
We're going to talk about France and not all
there's
these
New
fucking
Caledonia,
islands.
which has a special particular status out of the
A lot of
French
tungsten over there. No, chromium.
New Caledonia is the only one that's vying for a kind of somewhat independence, as the political power was passed to the native Kanak peoples. There is a weird French, EU, and New Caledonian citizenship thing going on, and in 2018 they will hold a referendum to either remain or leave France. And thanks to all these territories, they together give...
Are you stealing tomorrow again all of the PDX user like on CK Free? Yes, and I will give away English books. Yes, I will. I will. I don't know when though. I don't know when the fuck this shit is releasing tomorrow. But I'll be online when it releases.
Now let's go back to Metropolitan Europe.
And I'm getting
France.
a kebab,
The country
man.
is
Oh, I'm
located
getting
in
a
Western
kebab.
Europe, bordered by 8 other nation states. Don't forget little Andorra and Monaco, along the coast by the English Channel and the Bay of Biscay in the north and west, as well as the Mediterranean Sea to the south. Mainland France is sometimes referred to as the hexagon, since if you tilt your head a little bit, it kind of looks like it has 6 sides. Quite frankly, I was always under the impression that it kind of looked like a teapot with feet. Mainland France is also divided into 13 regions, including Corsica Island, 18 altogether if you include the overseas regions, with the capital, largest city, as well as the main cultural and commercial center, Paris. We could talk on and on about Paris, what with the unbelievably designed metropolitan layout, the rich, vibrant
Fucking
atmosphere,
beautiful, man.
the juxtaposition of classical...
I remember when I was in Paris, dude, the thing about Paris is it's too overwhelmingly beautiful. Every single... Look, if I look out and I look at a house, it's just a fucking house, okay? It's a house. In Paris, you look at a random house and it has a fucking 500-year-old history. There's statues of angels. In this room lived Jacques Montagnier, who was a great poet in the 1600s. Everything in France is fucking... Also trash everywhere and homeless people, true.
Sites along neo-contemporary architecture, the food, the shops, and of course, au soleil, sous la pluie, à midi ou à minuit, il y a tout ce que vous voulez.
Thank you, Sam, for another 5. What's wrong with you, Sam? God damn it. Thank you, man. Paris is dirty. I don't like Paris. I really hated Paris, man. Paris is like Gomorrah. Looks so beautiful, but if you look like between the lines, it's so ridden of fakeness and superficial stuff and poor people. And trash. Thank you, Sam, and thank you, Yaro. Thank you very much, man.
Ports are the 2 Paris twins, Charles de Gaulle and Orly International, as well as Nice, Côte d'Azur, and the 2nd and 3rd largest cities, Lyon, Saint-Exupéry, and Marseille, Provence International. At around 643,000 square kilometers, France is the largest country.
Oh, it's the largest in the EU.
The interesting thing about France is that it's kind of divided into areas that historically had their own distinct cultural identity. Some of the most notable ones being Occitania, Savoy, Brittany, Normandy, Alsace, a section of the Basque Country, Nice, and the island of Corsica, which
Corsica's the coolest fucking flag in the world, man.
These regions contribute their own unique piece of the French pie. Speaking of pie, we all know about French food, which is great because we're going to discuss more about it in... If you look at France's physical makeup, you start to kind of understand why food plays such a huge role in their culture. Everything just kind of works out perfectly for them. For Metropolitan France, big, rich, nourishing rivers and their tributaries like the Garonne, Dordogne, Loire, Seine,
Every
Meuse,
sub month,
Rhône,
my
entangle
pee
the
gets 1 centimeter bigger.
Thank you, Yaro.
Entire country north to south, east to west, allowing an abundance of irrigated crop fields to exist in nearly every corner of the country. Now add on top of that the fact that the country does not have any major fault lines. They enjoy a nice oceanic European climate, and they don't suffer regularly from any major natural catastrophes.
Look how beautiful that is.
Most of the country is made up of arable flat plains or
Damn.
small rolling green hills that are just begging for cultivation, and voila, you have an agricultural gold mine. In fact, out of every country in the EU, France reportedly has the highest quality of soil performance and resilience, and only a few spots like in the Caucasus region and parts of Eastern Europe and Southern Russia rank higher. So there you go, food haven. In the south, you reach the mountainous regions of France, including the Pyrenees along the border with Spain, the Massif Central plateaus,
So
one of the
beautiful,
most
man.
geologically studied places in Europe due to this strange formation, the Alps all along the borders with Italy and Switzerland. By the way, Switzerland was all like, yeah, I'm not gonna share Lake Le Mans, it's mine. That's how Geneva was born. The highest point in France, let alone all of the EU, is Mont Blanc, found in the French Alps along the border with Italy, only second in height to the Caucasus Mountains in all of Europe. If you consider the Caucasus region a part of Europe, some people don't.
Which I don't.
That's another
I don't
story.
think
France
that's Europe.
is a cornucopia of produce, dairy, and meat. Every region has their own specialty, but 2 things
Oh,
are
man,
everywhere:
the food,
cheese and
man.
wine. The French are the largest consumers of cheese with over 1,200 different varieties found all over the country. The French also have a larger range of unconventionally consumed meat products. Most countries stick with beef, chicken, pork, maybe lamb or goat, and fish. However, the French aren't satisfied with just that. Other animals like pheasant, duck, goose, quail, rabbit, venison, veal,
Snail.
horse, frogs, and snails are consumed regularly. Speaking of which, the national animal is the Gallic rooster, which is why you might typically see a lot of roosters on French-affiliated symbols. In fact, France is one of the most entomophagous, that's insect-eating, countries in Europe, as about 700 million snails are estimated
they're
to be
French.
consumed every year by the French, especially in
Damn.
Burgundy, the largest snail-producing region in France.
I wonder. I mean, I don't want to say disgusting. Most of us, we never ate snails. Maybe they're good. I don't know. Maybe they're good.
Additionally, due to the fact that the French are the highest consumers of raw or mildly cooked red meats, a huge portion of the population is either exposed or chronically infected by the Toxoplasma gondii parasite that's...
I fucking always knew something was wrong with the French. I fucking always knew.
Disputably, over half the population is suspected to have. This little guy eventually finds its way into your brain, changes people's behaviors into being either more caring or aggressive and suspicious. Look it up, I'm not even joking. The Alps are famous
Oh, fucking Frenchies, dude. Oh, every time you see them now, you wear fucking gloves. What the fuck? Oh, le crêpe. Oh, nom.
their charcuterie and fondue, Brittany
What
for
the
its
fuck? They have
crepes,
brain
Cantal for
parasites.
its chestnuts, Dijon for its mustard, l'Aveyron for
Explains
aligot,
everything.
Crème for its champagne, and then we get to Bordeaux. Now, first of all, every region of France likes to claim that they have the best
Bro, I'm really not a wine guy. I don't know
However,
shit
it's
about
widely
wine. I
known
don't
that
care about the
Bordeaux
whole
is
wine
disputably
thing.
the home of the largest wine vineyards in the world.
To me,
pumping
all
out
wine
over
tastes the
500 million
same.
liters of wine a year. The French take their produce maintenance very seriously and became the first country in the world to ban supermarkets from throwing away or destroying
Yeah, I
unsold
think they don't
food
even have plastic bags anymore. That's actually pretty sick, man. Dude, in a weird way, I feel like France is gonna be the leader in Europe in the future when it comes to green stuff, because they are not pussies and actually stay on nuclear power plants. Thank you, Unforgiven. Paris is doing great with water and shit. I just watched a documentary, the Zac Efron thing on Netflix, which is great. I think they're doing really good.
Banks to combat crop wastage on farms, France has even opened up ugly fruit or vegetable shops in which you can buy disfigured produce for 30% off. Other than foodstuffs, though, main exports are aircraft, chemicals, machinery, iron, and steel.
In France, we say that about Germany, though.
And pharmaceuticals. Of course, the overseas territories and regions also have climates and topographies that are completely
Germany is actually the leader in the green shit? Oh, that makes me proud.
Enjoy a warm Caribbean tropical climate. Oh, wow. Guyana being part of the Amazon, having one of the highest forest cover densities in the world at over 95%, with over 1,100 species of birds and reptiles and mammals found in it. Reunion and Mayotte off the coast of Africa have deep jungle ravines and a common.
Are you paid to promote the Zac Efron thing? I think this is amazing. I really enjoyed that on Netflix.
And lagoons with nothing more than just a few trees and shrubs.
But yeah, I'm sucking a lot of Efron dick.
Islands are rocky and desolate with few grasses and vegetation. Kerguelen has these cabbage-looking things going on, and these islands typically freeze over in the winter with penguins stampeding off the coasts. New Caledonia and French Polynesia are tropical Pacific islands that enjoy an abundance of rich, unspoiled, thick.
He's talking 50% of the video about the islands, which, man, I want to hear more about France.
All right, we've discussed borders, boundaries, mountains, food, volcanoes. Now let's talk about who's running the entire show.
They must have crazy demographics, lots of fucking different shit.
Very intent on making sure that you know they are French. First of all, the country has about 67 million people and is the second largest in Europe after Germany, making 13% of the EU alone. About 85% of the population is white, 10% are North African, mostly from the Maghreb regions, a little over 3% are black, and a little less than 2% are Asian. The currency is the euro, they use the type CEF outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road, which makes things interesting when their neighbor.
Yeah, I was like, 85, really? If you're in Paris, it doesn't feel like that, which is totally fine. Totally okay. 85.
Come across the channel. Now let's talk about the white people. Most white French people have some or partial Celtic or Gaulish origins, as historically the Gauls inhabited most of the centralized regions of modern-day France. That means genetically, the French and British have a lot more in common than they think. Of course, an admixture of Latin and Germanic.
Yeah, British people, you probably also have a fucking brain parasite.
Roots also applies, as all three people groups had their stake of claim in France as well. The name France even came from the Germanic Frank tribe. French is, of course, the official language. However, regional dialects do exist, but for the most part, they do pretty well at making sure everyone speaks.
Do Bretons have their own language? Probably not, right? I don't think so. Is there a Breton language? Breton language? There is? There's a Breton language? Fuck off. Breton language. Dude, I'm learning so much. Is he already, is that French or Breton? I don't know. That's not French. Sounds like some old English with French or some shit. Aha, interesting.
Granted, the linguistic zones that we mentioned
sounds like
each
Welsh.
have their own flag, still cling on to their mother tongue, and sometimes you can even find street signs written in these languages. For example, Breton, a Celtic-based language related to Welsh and Irish.
Oh, there you
Brittany,
go.
Basque
Welsh and
Basque
Irish.
Country, Occitan and Occitania. Corsicans have like this strange half French, half Italian hybrid thing going on. Keep in mind though, most of the languages spoken in the linguistic zones are kind of dying out, and only the older generation really retains daily conversation in those languages. Outside of Metropolitan France, the overseas departments.
Look at that fucking highway, what the hell?
French, but in addition, typically have their own creoles or dialects. For example, in the Caribbean, Martinique and Guadeloupe might say "Ça a marché, tout bon man, ti mal man." In Rio,
the French people I was chilling with, they always said that when how to say. I was in this group and there was a Vietnamese guy who still spoke French, and the French people always said that all these outsiders, like the island French, they always speak a dirty French. That's what they said. I don't fucking know. But they always said they speak like dirty French. It sounds dirty, they said. I don't know what the fuck that means.
France is the most visited country in the world, as more people than the entire population of France visit France annually at about 80 million. Culture-wise, there is too much to discuss. I mean, we are talking...
These fuckers won the World Cup, man. Ridiculous.
Millennia of tribes, wars, empires, heroes, villains, artists, poets, architects, kings, queens, guillotines, revolutions,
so much culture in that country
music,
also,
dance,
man.
clothing,
Europe is so
fashion,
full of
cinema,
culture.
discoveries,
America,
victories, losses, politics, folklore, science,
I'm just
literature,
kidding.
medicine,
You guys
and
have great
baguettes.
culture.
Cover it all, we would need a whole separate YouTube channel. But for what it's worth, since the Middle Ages, France has been able to show time after time again that it has been a global force to be reckoned with. I mean, the French at one point in time had the second largest empire in the world, spanning across virtually
I didn't even know they were so deep into USA,
One thing you have to
man.
understand is that in a fast-growing Anglophone-driven global economy, France is very, very firmly intent on preserving the French language and culture. The governmentally sanctioned Académie Française has aimed at doing this since 1634.
Yeah, these guys don't want to learn English and shit.
Unsuccessfully, banning foreign words such as blog, hashtag, parking,
Oh, they banned
email,
that?
and weekend. In addition, the French media's top regulators, the CSA and
That's a bit
CNC,
behind,
have
I
strict
think.
policies that require all music on private radio to be at least of 40% French origin and
What?
70% in the French language.
That's
between
like
the hours
cultural
of 8 a.m. to
fascism.
8 p.m. and half the music quota must be less than 6 months old. Everything must be French. France is, of course,
Don't imagine
home to a
Germany will do
plethora
that.
of
People will
notable
get scared.
figures in every field of academia and athleticism. I mean, they have almost 70 Nobel Peace Prize winners, including famous chemists Pierre and Marie Curie. Few people know that they had a daughter who also became a notable scientist. Other scientists, writers, and philosophers
Irene.
like Descartes, Pascal, Baudelaire, Flaubert, Pasteur, Châtelet, Bouton, who, by the way, invented the metric system. Musicians like
Motherfucker.
Rameau, Lully, Debussy, Jacques Brel, Edith Piaf. Of course, we can't forget the fashion icons Louis Vuitton, Coco Chanel, and Christian Dior. I mean, it's no secret, France is often touted as the fashion capital of the world. Artists like Monet, Cézanne, Renoir, Degas, Manet, and Gauguin. And of course, what's an episode about France without mentioning anything about Kings Louis XIV and XVI, Joan of Arc, and Napoleon? In a simple way of putting it, French culture is very vibrant and proud. The French...
Everybody name the first famous French person you come up with. The first one in your brain. Because the first thing I get is Kylian Mbappe. It's the first thing comes in my name. Napoleon. Napoleon wins that. Yeah, Napoleon. True. Yeah, look at chat. They're spamming Napoleon. True, Napoleon. The first thing in my brain is Mbappe.
Love where they've come from.
Mbappé.
And how they go
Oh,
about
je
doing
suis
it. The Catholic
désolé.
Church once played a major role, and to this day, even as a secular state with dwindling church attendees,
Yeah, I think
many
this
French people
building's
still,
not doing
in the
so well
very
lately.
least, identify nominally as Catholic, mostly for a cultural thing. It's just their history, and they don't want to toss it away. They also love taking breaks and getting their sleep. On average, the French get about 8.83 hours of
Oh,
sleep every day.
what? What the fuck? You guys sleep 9 hours? What the fuck's wrong with you? No wonder you got blitzkrieg. What the fuck? Wait, they're here? What? What the
More than
fuck?
any other
9
country in the
hours?
developed world. And they also have some of the shortest work weeks with only about 6 to 7 hours on average a day. And that's enough for them. It's not uncommon to see people taking time off.
Yeah,
in the
that-
middle
you
of
see
the
that a
day,
lot in
early
Paris.
evening,
Yeah,
just to
lots of
relax and
dudes
take a nap.
chilling
They
and
even have a
stuff.
word for it.
Which is
L'heure
good,
de
man.
l'apéro, which literally translates to the hour of the aperitif.
They're just
People can
fucking,
also claim state
chilling out,
pension
man.
At age 62, making it one of the lowest retirement ages in the world. And of course, the sport French people rank highest in the world. Going on strike. I mean, the last thing you want to do is interrupt a Frenchman's nap during a 6-hour shift with corporate policy
6-hour
changes. Yep,
shift.
the world can be a cruel, cruel place. Let's see how France survives in the jungle. When it comes to France, they don't discriminate. They hate everyone equally. No, but seriously, France has their eyes on a few people, and when they see what they like, they cling on and make you a treasure. First of all, Francophone nations and Latin-based former Roman legacy nations generally get the high seats, especially their neighbors like Switzerland, Luxembourg, Italy, and Spain. Quebec, Canada is to France kind of like what the USA is to the UK. They adore each other, they love each other's accents, but they love making fun of each other even more, even though they...
It's still crazy to me that there's French speaking motherfuckers in Canada, man. That's what the fuck?
They're really close. Algeria, Morocco, and Tunisia are the closest African nations as they make up the largest African immigrant demographics, followed by sub-Saharan African countries like Cameroon and Côte
They hate
d'Ivoire,
each other,
or
actually?
Ivory Coast. For France, Japan is seen as like the epitome of exoticism. Similar to themselves, the Japanese have a rich culture of noble tradition, things like castles, attire, and food. Likewise, Japan sort of shares the same mutual fascination and see France as like its European alternate universe twin. There's no two countries that like to poke fun of and borderline harass each other with the French as the UK and the USA. As historical rivals with the UK, I mean, they did have a 100-year war with them, and the USA busting their chops about World War II all the time. All sides like to satirize each other in cartoons and media all the time. Nonetheless, they are actually really close. The UK and France have been crossing borders and intermarrying for centuries. Commerce and student exchanges are high, and the US was helped by
That's
the French
beautiful. I
during
think
the
that's beautiful.
Revolutionary War, and they even
that
gave the
everything
Statue
comes
of
together
Liberty
now
as
and
a
we stop
present.
fucking each
fellow
proud, man.
Americans, thank
I think
France
that's beautiful.
for Lady Liberty, okay? It was a kind gesture. France's best friends, though, would probably be Germany and Belgium. It's kind of funny because historically, the only country that was consistently an opponent of France was Germany. Ever since the split of Charlemagne's empire in three, most of Europe's history was driven by the overarching rivalry between variations of France and all variations of Germany, including the Holy Roman Empire, the Teutonic Order, Prussia, and of course, the Third Reich. But the plot twist was the creation of the EU. Following Robert Schumann's speech that states explicitly that for Europe to even hope to work, the millennia-old rivalry between France and Germany has to be resolved for good. Ever since 1950, France and Germany have taken a lot of political inspiration off of each other. Heads of states have visited each other on numerous occasions, and both countries have been the biggest advocates for the survival of the Union. And Belgium is like their little brother that moved out and got a Dutch-speaking
Can I borrow 18 euros?
Every so often to
I thought that's Greece.
their laundry.
But sure, France and Germany are doing very well together in the EU.
Turbulents, mais qui gardent quand même un certain charme. Ils ont parfois l'air désinvolts, mais bon, essaye de vivre dans
Germany always took it too far.
24 heures sur 24, 7 jours sur 7, par de hordes de touristes qui piétinent vos jardins, massacrent votre gastronomie, et vous demandez de vous plaire au moindre de leurs désirs, sans même vous dire un petit merci. Ugh, France.
How many languages does this guy speak, man? That's like 3 at this far.
Rich former little colony Gabon is coming up next.
God damn, I fucking love these videos, man. This is fun as fuck. But we kinda gotta start playing Antique. I don't know. Russia? Fucking Russia? I don't know. Let's not spoil it. Let's not spoil it. We can like make a vote on the next country. Brazil. No. I'm not doing another one. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. But man, they're fun. They're really good. Anyway.